And there were more rows to come at the wedding reception. Harry and Meghan were furious that
Willie and Kate switched place cards and changed seats at our wedding. They insisted it wasn't them.
whatever the truth of it, what should have been a happy day turned into rows, and it marked a new low in the relationship between the two couples.
Everyone remembers the royal wedding as this perfect $32 million fairy tale, but looking back now, a lot of viewers think the red flags were there from the very beginning.
And apparently Meghan loved this. She absolutely was delighted with this idea, but she let slip that actually she knew quite a lot about Wallis Simpson. Apparently they taught about her in school, and she'd read tons of books about Wallis and what she'd done. And how can you know that much about Wallis Simpson but not know who Prince Harry is?
Long before the Oprah interview, the Netflix drama, or the Spotify fallout, people online have pointed to moments from the wedding itself that suddenly feel very different in hindsight. And one detail especially keeps coming up.
That this was going to be the situation. How could you possibly have no family members other than your mother? Apparently this was brought up at that meeting to Doria, who very quickly said, "I'm leaving all of that to Harry and Meghan. It's nothing to do with me." So again, the Queen thought this was odd because she said, well, do you have a sister you'd like to maybe bring along and sit alongside you? I'd hate to think if you're sitting there all alone, there's going to be all of us, nobody with you.
The car. Meghan Markle arrived at St. George's Chapel in the same Rolls-Royce Phantom 4, once linked to Wallis Simpson, the American divorcee whose relationship with King Edward VIII famously shook the monarchy decades ago. Now, some royal watchers think that choice carried symbolism, especially because Meghan later claimed she didn't know much about royal history before meeting Harry.
The same luxury Phantom 4 that took the new Duchess of Sussex to St. George's Chapel for her royal wedding took U.S. divorce.
Critics online argue the connection feels a little too specific to be completely random. Whether intentional or not, the comparison immediately got people talking.
Philip, it turns out, I couldn't believe that Meghan Markle couldn't rummage up any family, and actually apparently had a word with her about it. But he was told no, there was nobody that wanted to come. And he felt that this was very strange. Her Majesty the Queen found this incredible.
And then came another moment viewers still debate today. As Meghan stepped out of the car in her massive wedding gown, a royal aide moved in to help her navigate the exit. But footage from the moment sparked online discussion after people noticed her quickly brushing the assistants aside before walking forward on her own. Some viewers saw confidence, others saw tension. Either way, people now look back at that wedding and wonder if the signs of future drama were already hiding in plain sight.
For his father stepping up to walk Meghan down the aisle.
I asked him to, and I think he knew it was coming. And he immediately said, yes, of course, I'll do whatever Meghan needs. I'm here to support.
The moment got even more awkward after that. The aide visibly stepped back, looking completely caught off guard, and online critics immediately started saying the whole thing felt less like a royal wedding and more like a carefully directed movie scene where every camera angle had to go perfectly.
I shot a glance at Pa, who'd walked Meg down the last part of the aisle. Not her father, but special just the same, and she was moved.
Because from their perspective, Meghan clearly wanted that solo entrance shot. No interruptions, no helping hands, just her walking into history alone.
Prince Harry's fiancée, Meghan Markle, our girl, is reportedly going to break royal tradition and make a speech at her upcoming wedding this spring. Wow, right?
Wow.
Insiders say this would be a first since it's normally the father of the bride, groom, and best man who gives.
I said, I'd like to make a little speech. I've been writing a little speech. And Harry said, you might want to talk to Meghan about that. I think she wants to.
And honestly, that same theme showed up again with another detail people still talk about today. Doria Ragland sitting by herself. A lot of viewers expected Meghan's mother to stay beside her during the arrival, especially since most brides want those emotional final moments together before the ceremony. But instead, Doria was seated inside the chapel alone while Meghan made the entrance separately.
Charles stepped in against protocols, against tradition, and offered to walk his daughter-in-law down the aisle. And Meghan's first words that she said to him, "I'll meet you halfway."
Some people saw it as simple logistics. Others thought it looked strangely cold, considering how huge the moment was. And then there was the bigger conversation that followed almost immediately online, the guest list. Harry's side of the chapel was packed with family members, royal relatives, dignitaries, and longtime friends. Meghan's side, meanwhile, looked noticeably empty except for her mother. That contrast became a massive talking point. At the time, reports claimed even senior royals privately questioned how unusual the situation looked, especially for such a globally watched wedding. And years later, people still point back to these moments, wondering if the tension everyone talks about now was already quietly showing itself during the ceremony itself. Things got even stranger when people started noticing just how empty Meghan's side of the chapel looked. According to royal reports at the time, Queen Elizabeth herself allegedly asked Doria if there was another relative she wanted nearby, so she wouldn't be sitting completely alone during the ceremony. But instead of extended family filling the seats, the wedding featured massive Hollywood names Meghan barely even knew personally. George Clooney was there, Oprah was there. Meanwhile, many actual relatives were nowhere to be seen. And online critics immediately started calling it one big image reset. To them, it looked like Meghan was carefully rebuilding her public identity in real time. Then came the aisle moment. After Thomas Markle's very public health issues prevented him from attending, Meghan reportedly asked Prince Charles himself to walk her down the aisle, which instantly became one of the biggest headlines of the wedding. And to his credit, Charles stepped in gracefully during a pretty chaotic situation. But viewers later noticed another detail that sparked debate online. Meghan only walked part of the aisle with him. For the first section, she walked completely alone, before Charles joined her halfway, which some royal commentators interpreted as symbolic and carefully staged for the cameras. Whether intentional or not, people definitely noticed, and somehow the controversy didn't even stop there. Reports later claimed Meghan also complained about the scent inside St. George's Chapel during rehearsals, allegedly requesting air fresheners because the historic building smelled too musty. Now imagine telling royal staff to freshen up a 500-year-old chapel before your wedding. Yeah, people online had a lot to say about that one. Buckingham Palace reportedly shut the air freshener request down immediately, reminding everyone that St. George's Chapel is a historic royal site, not some luxury hotel lobby. But once those reports surfaced, the internet absolutely ran with it. Critics started saying Meghan seemed more focused on creating the perfect aesthetic than respecting centuries of royal tradition. And when her former Suits co-star Rick Hoffman later joked publicly about the chapel smell during coverage, people instantly connected it back to the rumors all over again. Then came one of the weirdest moments of the entire ceremony. During the vows, a giant fly landed directly on Meghan's face, while cameras were broadcasting every second worldwide. Most people would instinctively react, blink, flinch, brush it away, something. Meghan barely moved. She stayed completely focused straight ahead while the insect sat there long enough for viewers online to turn the moment into endless memes and conspiracy-level commentary. Some people thought it showed incredible composure. Others thought it looked strangely robotic. Either way, the clip spread everywhere. And then there was the hair debate. Royal weddings are usually known for ultra-polished styling, but Meghan's loose strands and slightly messy bridal bun immediately divided viewers online. Some people loved the softer, modern look. Others thought it looked intentionally undone for such a massive royal event. And honestly, that pretty much sums up the entire wedding years later. Every single detail still somehow turns into a debate. As the ceremony continued, Meghan's hairstyle somehow became its own internet controversy. The loose strands kept falling around her face, and while some people loved the relaxed California bride look, others thought it looked way too casual for a royal wedding reportedly costing tens of millions. Social media was brutal about it. Some viewers said the messy bun felt modern and relatable. Others joked they wanted to reach through the screen and fix it themselves. And paired with the giant royal tiara and dramatic veil, the whole look created a weird contrast people still argue about today. It was royal elegance mixed with Hollywood casual at the exact same time. Then came the moment body language channels still obsess over years later. As Harry and Meghan stepped outside to greet the crowds, cameras captured Meghan pausing briefly before giving a small smirk toward the audience. And online, people completely ran with it. Some viewers saw confidence and relief after a stressful ceremony. Others claimed the expression looked calculated or overly self-satisfied, turning it into one of the most analyzed facial expressions of the entire wedding. That's the thing about this wedding now. Every tiny moment gets turned into symbolism. even the reception reportedly wasn't free from drama. According to royal gossip over the years, there were stories about tension involving seating arrangements and guest placements during the private evening reception. Reports claimed Meghan wanted everything carefully organized around certain VIP guests, while rumors suggested William and Kate may have changed seating positions to spend time with friends instead. None of it was ever fully confirmed, but people online still point to stories like that as the beginning of the growing tension between the couples. And looking back now, many royal watchers believe the wedding wasn't just the start of a marriage. It was the start of years of royal fallout. Even the reception speeches reportedly became controversial. Royal weddings usually follow a pretty strict tradition when it comes to who speaks, but Meghan reportedly decided to grab the microphone herself and give a personal speech during the reception. And of course, people had opinions about it. Some guests reportedly loved the more modern approach. Others thought it broke royal tradition in a way that immediately stood out. Online critics later claimed the speech felt more like a Hollywood acceptance speech than a classic royal toast. According to reports, Meghan focused heavily on her personal journey and love story with Harry, framing everything like a modern fairy tale romance. And then came the line people still quote years later. During the speech, Meghan reportedly referred to herself and Harry as a boy and a girl who were meant to be together. That phrase instantly divided viewers online. Some thought it sounded sweet and romantic. Others thought it felt overly scripted and strangely childish, considering Harry was a military veteran in his 30s, and Meghan herself was already well into adulthood with years of public life experience behind her. But honestly, that reaction perfectly captures the entire wedding debate. Every moment Meghan created was either viewed as modern and refreshing, or carefully staged and overly performative, depending on who you ask. And that's why people are still talking about this wedding years later. Not because it was perfect, because every detail somehow turned into controversy. And honestly, the biggest controversy didn't even happen at the wedding itself. It happened years later during the Oprah interview. That's when Meghan claimed she and Harry had actually shared a private ceremony in their backyard several days before the televised royal wedding. The story instantly exploded online because people quickly pointed out there's a major difference between a private exchange of vows and a legally recognized royal marriage. Eventually, even the Archbishop of Canterbury publicly clarified that the official legal wedding was the ceremony the world watched at Windsor. And once that happened, the internet went into full debate mode. Critics accused Meghan of changing details to fit a more intimate fairy tale narrative, while supporters argued she may have simply been describing a private personal moment between the couple before the formal event. But viewers also became heavily focused on Harry's reaction during the interview itself. As Meghan spoke, cameras caught Harry looking visibly uncomfortable at certain moments, and body language clips immediately spread all over social media, with people analyzing every expression and glance frame by frame. That interview ended up changing public opinion in a huge way, because suddenly the royal wedding wasn't being remembered as just a glamorous celebration anymore. People started revisiting every awkward moment, every rumor, every headline, trying to figure out whether the warning signs had been there from the start. And then came the comment that really upset a lot of royal viewers. During the Oprah interview, Meghan described parts of the wedding as feeling like a spectacle, which critics saw as disrespectful considering how much public support and taxpayer money went into the event. Supporters thought she was simply explaining the pressure and overwhelming scale of royal life. Critics saw it very differently. And honestly, that's why this wedding still gets talked about nonstop years later. Depending on who you ask, it was either the beginning of a modern royal love story or the start of one of the biggest royal fallouts in recent history. So what do you think? Were the red flags obvious from day one, or are people reading too much into everything now? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more royal drama and celebrity deep dives right here on Crown Echoes.